Well, I got my green on, so nobody can pinch me unless they want me to wear orange. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. I hope every one of you are doing well. I am. I'm doing pretty damn good. I'm going to go to sleep in a little while. You can tell by the look of my eyes. I'm a little out there. Eyelids are heavy, but I feel like I need to go and get a commentary out of my chest. So this is where I come on in. And while all this talk about law and order, I'm going to ask you both. I'm going to ask y'all a question. I just want to know what you think. You know, not whether we support or oppose law enforcement, but American aesthetics versus foreign aesthetics. Referring to sound. Would you rather for your police cars and your ambulance and your fire engines and all first responders vehicles to sound like this? Or will you rather hear the same first responder type vehicle sound like this? I just think that's a very important issue, don't you? No, honestly, if you don't mind, just share me your opinion, two tone or what we know here in America. I'm just kind of curious what your take is. Well, let's talk about council culture again, because we've been talking about council culture like aggressively for the last couple of weeks, even more than usual. Yeah, we have a culture war. We have cancel culture. We have a culture war between ridiculous elements of the left and elements of the right, and it's even dragged some good people on the left and good people on the right that don't want to be part of this culture war. It's dragged some of these people into it as well. So, Dr. Seuss, and I'm going to say again that that there's no cancel culture going on with Dr. Seuss. The company itself pulled these controversial books off the shelves. This is not the workings of Antifa and congressional Democrats or what have you. Um, so what if you taking the term Mister out of Potato Head? You buy the damn toy. You can call it Mr. Potato Head. You can call it Miss Potato Head. Their sky is not falling. Pepe Le Pew, yeah, pretty damn silly. The toxic masculinity that some people claim it makes. It's a stupid skunk. That's all there is to it. Speedy Gonzalez, I can maybe understand that being half Hispanic, a mouse. But then again, I don't, I don't think that there's really too much to it because you got animals in these Warner Brother cartoons that talk. I mean, what are you going to do? Ban Daffy Duck because he's got a speech impediment? I mean, just or Porky Pig who has a speech impediment, or Elmer Fudd who has a speech impediment. Are we making fun of them? I mean, we can just go on and on and on about how extreme we could take this here, okay? I mean, honestly, we could just take it so extreme. Now that I think about it, several Warner Brother cartoon characters do have speech impediments. Sylvester the cat has it. Let's see, who else? Elmer Fudd, Porky Pig. My goodness, Daffy Duck. I can't. I mean, wow, I never thought about it. So I could think of four. I can't think of anybody else from the Warner Brothers series that has the speech impediment. Wow. I better not say this too loud, or if it catches on and somehow this video becomes viral, and only you can make this video viral. But anyway, um, people might be like, "Well, he's got a point there." Yeah, no, no, don't go there. Please don't go there. Um, I make fun as a leftist. I make fun of some of the SJW, the woke skulls, the regressive left. What's going on today in the modern left, because some of it's silly. But what is sillier? Actually, not even silly. What's worse is the right wing PC, because it's not even acknowledged as right wing PC. To not put the label PC on the right is almost allowing the right to be called free thinkers, and allowing them to be, you know, the ones that have the moral high ground and moral clarity. And I don't want that to happen. Now, I am not saying that everybody on the right is terrible. Everybody, let me rephrase that. I'm not saying everybody in the center right is terrible. So please relax, relax, relax. I am a leftist and I'm tribalistic, and I get attacked daily as a leftist with the blanket indictment. So I'm very defensive about defending my own, even though I will criticize my own occasionally. I try to the best of my ability as a tribalist of sorts to defend my own. And so that's what it comes down to. And I'll give you an example: the Dixie Chicks. They said some mean things about George W. Bush, which weren't mean enough. You want to talk about mean? I could say some mean shit about George W. Bush. They got cancel culture by the right, by the Fox News people, by talk radio. Bill Maher had his program Politically Incorrect taken away from him because he said the 9/11 attackers were brave, and he didn't mean that he was giving his blessing to the 9/11 attackers. He was just saying that what they did was 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 brave on their part. He didn't agree with it. He didn't give it his blessing. So then you got Ward Churchill from the University of Colorado. Back in 2001, he basically said that 9/11 attacks was kind of provoked by the United States. It ain't all that far different from what the 9/11 commission has said about blowback. And even Ron Paul in 2008 got a lot of shit when he ran for president for the first time in the Republican primaries about how the United States is kind of responsible with some aspects of their foreign policy. So you got people who are the council culture is shifted toward the left. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota made some mild criticism of of APAC, the American Israeli Political Action Committee, I believe it's called. She made some very mild, tepid criticisms, which is true, that this particular lobbyist has a lot of power in Congress. Other lobbyist groups too. You got a Saudi lobby out there, which I'll contend is 10 times or 100 times worse, but depends on which kind of leftist you talk to on that issue. But you know, her comments were taken out of context, and they made her out to be like she's the second coming of Hitler with her comments. And there was nothing anti-Semitic about her remarks. But you had smear merchants that saw a dark-skinned Muslim woman from Africa, then wanted to go and just go and attack her. So and here's the thing: Ilhan Omar, unlike Marjorie Taylor Greene down in Georgia, never uttered killing fellow members of Congress, or what have you. So when people were talking about center back, no, don't send Ilhan Omar back. Send Marjorie Taylor's ass back to Georgia. That's what I got to say. But I digress. Well, let me just continue to say this. On March the 11th, Kentucky Senate banned um, what we call insults to police, which could mean insults to police, criticizing, contradicting, talking back, taunting, and they were very vague with the legislation on purpose. On purpose. Now, politically, you have to understand. There was a recent election, and one of the worst governors. There's some pretty bad governors around the country, but Matt Bevin was a special kind of shitty. And I mean, he's attacked the unions in that state, and he's the reason why Kentucky became a right to work state with the Right to Work Act back in January 2017. And he's pretty much just a movement conservative piece of shit. In the likeness of people like Scott Walker, Wisconsin, and when he was the governor of Indiana, Mike Pence, Greg Abbott down in Texas, was it Ron DeSantis? Rick DeSantis. I know I cannot think of his first name at the moment. Governor DeSantis of Florida, and just a few short years ago, here in North Carolina, Pat McCrory was one of the worst in the United States as far as state governors was concerned. Um, well, you got Matt Bevin was replaced by Andy Bashir, who is seemingly just a generic corporate Democrat, but I'll take less shitty over shitty any day in the context of Matt Bevin. You have Mitch McConnell, a special kind of awful of a human being. I love doing my impressions of Mitch McConnell. I'm Mitch McConnell. I'm an asshole. And believe me, he is. Ron Paul, I'm kind of lukewarm in my criticism. He sucks when it comes to economics and maybe about a half a dozen social issues. He's very cliche Republican, party line Republican. But what sets Rand Paul apart is that he has a level of libertarianism, which means non-interventionism when it comes to foreign policy. I take isolationism over neoconservatism any day. Yeah, as a dub, I take old-fashioned isolationism and embrace it wholeheartedly. Um, he's good on issues dealing with domestic civil liberties, opposed to torture, opposed to the surveillance state. Opposed to actually, he's pretty damn good on some aspects of criminal justice. I mean, he's taken some positions that would make any member of Black Lives Matter happy, like opposing the militarization of law enforcement. That's been really out of control for quite a few years now. Anyway, Kentucky, getting back to what I was saying, the Kentucky State Senate basically criminalized talking back to the police, talking back, contradicting, um, whatever. And I mean, they did this on purpose with the legislation because they want to do more than just have a slight forced decorum from their political critics. 90 days in jail, up to $250 fine. As I said, the ACLU of Kentucky says the bill strikes at dissent. And pretty much this is what the bill will be doing. This piece of legislation was designed to politically crush Antifa, crush Black Lives Matter, and crush what they perceive as the socialist menace. That's what it comes down to. No ifs, ands, or buts or anything. It comes down to crushing your political opponents, and that's exactly what they want to do: crush your political opponents. And we all need to make sure that Kentucky will get rid of this legislation because if this is happening in Kentucky, it will happen in other states. And so it's a First Amendment issue. The First Amendment issue, and whether it's pulling people over or going to a protest and trying to basically silence people at a protest. This is just over the top and wrong. And I'm this is what I'm here for to mention all of this. Um, you got the state of Kentucky that does not want to see Black Lives Matter or Occupy Wall Street or any progressive movement to to transpire and wake the consciousness of the people. They want to silence dissent. You know, the same people who cries about their First Amendment rights being undermined all the time are the very same people that will crush the First Amendment right of their political opponents. But you see, that's what makes me different from them because I may not like what many conservatives have to say on political matters. I would never ever silence their right to speak. Go further worse than just mere conservatives. Whether they're I mean even white nationalists or what have you who are pieces of shit. As long as they're not harming anybody, they have a right to march on the street and all of that. But they don't have a right to burn crosses on people's lawns or lynch or what have you. When it comes to crushing dissent, though, coming from the right, what they want to do is to crush political dissent, and that's what it comes down to. I mean, they no ifs, ands, or buts. That's the objective, because political protests kind of puts a throws a monkey wrench into things, so to speak. But anyway, I hope that this madness that the Kentucky legislature tried will be reversed. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, that's okay. Comment anyway. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you that if you have a platform, please utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. Hit that notification bell and that subscribe button so you are kept automatically up to date. And until next time, I am American Social Democracy. Peace, class struggle yesterday, today, tomorrow, until we achieve full economic and social justice for all.